Hello, today I want to talk about the dome cities. So the dome cities are, if you watch the show Under the Dome, you will find that it talks about a city that is 3 hours from Los Angeles and has the richest soil in the world. And that is where I live. And also the book doesn't even take place in California. It does not. So they're doing this purposely, on television. And the power plant type site for this device is actually in the post office. That's why it's never been used for what they intend to use it for. Those sacrifice tables are set out, they have holes in them so that you can lay a person out and bleed them in specific areas of their bodies. And people just like to fill out their mail there. It's insane. So the dome cities they're not really even domes, they're more like bubbles, and certain people can move throughout them that have the genetic code. And they're, in a sense, they're going to be sort of like individual Edens or heavens. They're territories. And they all have chosen rulers, chosen leaders. They've already been chosen and seeded and planted here through time traveling. And, like we think of time, you have to understand that there's beings that can step outside of time, and human beings that have devices that allow them to step outside of time and then insert back into wherever they want. So the dome cities have been created in a sense to cleanse the earth. In the end, these cities are protected by the Ark of the Shield. So it's just like in that dome. The thing about Under the Dome is it just has one city. And I think there's many more dome cities than just one. But this one here is very specific because it's like Jerusalem. And it's in between Los Angeles and San Francisco. And so many elites come in and out of here. So it's kind of like the rendezvous point for them to go. And if they need to, it's, close. So I would encourage you to check that out. The 7-Elevens are all in town. They are all positioned so that they are diagonal. And if you were to look at them, and then plus the ones that are in the post office, the old gas stations that are being shown, and we found one when the power grid blew. One of them blew up out by a gas station, so we've marked that one, and it definitely makes this lotus flower star, and which is part of this dome moon technology, whatever you want to call it. And anyways, the 7-Elevens are like facing each other this way, and then they all kind of go like this, and you can see how they all like triangulate. And then, so there's like 150,000 people that live in this town. Me and another friend of mine have both seen cars flipped over in the McDonald's parking lot. And what's really interesting is that they had just had that portion of that restaurant redone, like it's just like the Pentagon story, and they had hazmat out there the next day. It was a really big deal, and they said that she flew through and hit that transformer, and that's why it was blown. But it was like far behind the drive-thru and the restaurant, and by the next day, by 2 o'clock, all the bushes were replaced. You can even tell that a car had flipped over there. It just looked like the power went out. They had a transformer problem. They were more concerned about not looking like a car had gone through there. And that was in the middle of the night that we had seen that, and then my friend saw it in the middle of the day. So how many other times has a car flipped out there? And both times, the lights at the 7-Eleven neighboring flicker, and then they're stuck. Like it blows them out, it surges them, and then until they replace it like that. And so we've seen that a couple times. And I wonder who else has seen cars flipped over in the McDonald's parking lot, and they blame it on a drunk driver. It's like the guys working on the benches are talking about this drunk driver and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, how do you know a drunk driver did this? And they weren't there when we passed by it in the middle of the night. And all of the power in town went down and then came back up. And once again, it had to do with something that I was doing. So that's basically these dome cities. They're powered by these 7-Elevens, and sometimes they're older locations, like the Red Lion over here. It was called the Red Lion, and but I believe there's different sections where it's gonna be domed off or sectioned off. Like there's not just gonna be Visalia, but I think they might do a test. I think that Visalia might be like a test city for this, and also it draws in like a lot of like, bad people and stuff. It just does. So I believe it's gonna be like a cleansing place. I know that sounds nuts, but you know, if you knew how I came across all this information and why I accept so much of it, then you would understand why it's not nuts to me. But so that's the Dome Cities. I mean, they are trying to do them at the Super Bowl. They tried to do it at the Super Bowl, and the power went down, so they were not able to do it. And that is what they were doing. Like, no joke. They use these coliseums. All these places, like the tuning forks are the goalposts. Those are tuning forks that go into the ground. Okay, they're pulling all of the energy. They arrange these games so that certain energies go into the ground at certain times, whether it's happy or negative or angry or whatever it is. They use pitchers' mounds. Those are the mounds, sacred mounds that you hear about. In Egypt, we have like mounds all over the United States. We use them in the diamonds. They're in the diamonds, and I actually know someone, their dad's number was 33, and he was, I mean, molested by priests at, like, Mervyn's when he was a kid, by the manager of Mervyn's here in town, and, like, all kinds of strange stuff, and he was, like, a clairvoyant and different things when he was a child, and they put him all these meds and all this different stuff, so he's redheaded, so most likely, House of David was Israelite blood, which is, like, magic blood, and Lumerian blood, and his dad's number was 33 on the baseball team, and it's a famous baseball team, and that's how they're using, like they use people like that to put them on the pitcher's mound to power these devices and to really amp these things up and to get a full use out of these machines. But the real question that I have is, like, they're obviously doing free energy where I'm at. Like, they are using this free energy device, but we're all still paying for energy. So that's what I'm asking. Why are we still paying Edison if they're using this free energy device? What are they powering? So, where's it going to? Or are we just, like, totally being duped into paying for energy that's free and they're just pocketing it or just making us poor or whatever? So, let me know what you think about the Dome Cities. I'm not, like, I mean, I definitely cannot be, not convinced of it, because I didn't find the Dome City show and they go, oh my god, that's Visalia. What happened was, I've been telling people since I discovered this site through, like, divine knowledge and all this different stuff. When I found it, I started telling everybody, like, just wait, because when they lock this country down and they lock this city down, it's not going to be the technology that you understand. It's not going to be like your guns aren't going to work like that. And there's going to be a lot of things that just aren't going to work, and it's going to be different. Like, when I say that they're going to lock it down, I mean they're going to lock it down. They know how to do this in ways that you cannot be prepared for. So, and it was because I had been telling people this. They're like, man, you have to see this show. And so I watched it and I was like, wow, that's incredible. All down to, like, the astrology chart, the angels, the twins, the Akkadic twins. You'll notice that the two females have red hair in the movie because that's House of David. That's the Israelite blood and Lumerian blood, angelic DNA. So it's very interesting. And you'll notice the pink stars and what else? The monarch butterfly, which is the orange and the red and the red and the yellow. And it starts out with the monarch girl being trapped underground by a crazy guy, chained to a bed underground, which is indicative of monarch sex slaves. So it's just crazy. That whole show is just wild. And Jericho, which is, I've been saying, like, Jericho, the same thing was, Jericho was one of these dome cities where they had to use the Ark of the Covenant device and use vibrations to break these sonic barrier walls down. So, I don't know if they're sonic, but whatever they are, it's ancient Egyptian technology. It's even older than that, actually. And it's the ancients, the technology of the ancients. And it's funny because in the beginning of Jericho, they're like, Tony, where's Tony? And that's my name. So I'm like, that's so funny because I keep trying to tell people. And I've been telling people for a while, this is all going to shut down pretty soon. And, like, now we're doing a government shutdown. And I've been saying this. I'm laughing now because I wonder if all those people that were saying I was crazy in February when I was telling people about this, if they're like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they're like, wow, Tony was right. But I keep trying to tell people. But this is all going to come back on. The power's going to stay on. Everything's going to be fine. These are false flag type operations to scare people and to hopefully give us, like, people are getting a little bit of a heads up. It's more than I think they deserve, actually. So, but Dome Cities, check out the show on CBS. Definitely worth a look to at least see the pilot. And it's got Big Jim, Big Jehovah, and Barbie, Ken, G.I. Joe, all these different military personas. So anyways, let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.